For more on this, Dave Sears is a former U.S. Navy SEAL. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. Good morning to you. Important to have you on with the stakes so high today. First of all, what did you make of what Nikki Haley was just saying live on our air a few moments ago, on top of, as Rich was saying, Defense Secretary Mattis yesterday in the driveway of the White House, laying out the stakes pretty directly?
Oh, I thought it was a great statement by Ambassador Haley. She really kind of laid out the history lesson everybody needs to know, very succinctly, very short. It should frankly be an embarrassment to the United Nations Security Council as well.
Yeah, for sure, because there's been all of this talk and very little action for so long. Something else that caught my eye is the fact that what North Korea is at least claiming about this last test is talking about a powerful electromagnetic pulse that they say could knock out entire cities in the U.S. It seems to me the stakes have gotten higher when this is not just a hydrogen bomb, which is massive enough, scary enough, but when you walk through this, what exactly is an EMP? It's the burst of radiation when a nuclear weapon is detonated above the Earth. No blast felt on Earth, but the electromagnetic fields still reach the surface. And the bottom line is that the aim of this is to knock out power in much of the U.S., and the claim from experts is that outages could last for months, affecting hospitals, emergency services, food and water. Talk to us a little bit about this, Dave, of the notion that this kind of electromagnetic attack could go beyond just taking out lives. They could be taking out our electric grid as well.
No, absolutely. Electromagnetic pulse is a real thing, and so it's a high-altitude detonation of a nuclear weapon could cause that, amongst other things, right? And it would be absolutely devastating if it was over a certain area, depending, especially large city centers or areas like that that are dependent upon those things, and it shuts down all sorts of things, including our financial systems. The impacts would be global, massively global.
Pretty intense. As a former Navy SEAL, what's your sense? We've been talking to experts all morning about the potential for military conflict here, and the fear being that if we launch a unilateral attack, the president yesterday, when asked about that, said, we'll see, so the door is open for a unilateral attack, is that you could not just, with the U.S. initial attack, kill many North Koreans, but in a response from North Korea, the idea is that a city like Seoul on the south side could be wiped out as well. Talk about the stakes there.
Right, they're huge. So I think that we know this conventional option, and as we've played it out, either us a preemptory attack or North Korea attacks first into Seoul, is huge. The loss of life is huge on both sides. So that's why I think it also leads to really strongly looking at things like a second strike option that we have and saying, look, we're going to strike to, like Secretary Mattis said, annihilation. You know, this thermonuclear weapon that they tested, assuming it is a complete change in our calculations, because assuming that they can get now a device aboard an ICBM that they can launch, we have to start assuming that these missile tests, how do we know that they're not nuclear-tipped missiles? Right. We have no way to know that, so our response has to be adjusted towards that. The calculations have completely changed.
Dave, I have just a minute, but there's something you said there that I really want to dig deeper on so our viewers understand it, so I understand it. You're talking about a second strike. That's easy, second nature for you, but I want to understand it better. So the talk has been in the media that a unilateral strike by the U.S. wipes out a bunch of people on the north side, maybe some spillover on the south side. Then there's an immediate response from the north, and that could wipe out Seoul, as we mentioned. You're talking about the possibility of us, the U.S., launching a unilateral strike at first, and then what is this idea of a second strike right away to prevent a response from the north, is what you're saying?
No, I'm not talking about us launching
so what's a second
unilateral first strike. A second strike is in response to North Korea launches a weapon towards Guam, or hits Guam with a weapon, or hits Japan with a weapon. The second strike that we would initiate, our response to that, that's the second strike, is complete and utter annihilation of North Korea. And likely it would have to be nuclear in nature. So you'd have to take out Pyongyang, you'd have to take out all those artillery pieces, everything else. So the calculation is, you know, ramped way up.
Wow. But, and obviously there would be spillover onto the south side. When you talk about annihilating Pyongyang with a nuclear strike, it's not just going to stay on one side of the border. This is an enormous challenge ahead.
Yeah, huge. I mean, nobody wants it to go to this. And so China supposedly very interested in stability in the region, is the major reason that they want to weigh in with North Korea and South Korea.
Wow.
Well, they're pushing towards massive instability right now,
Yeah.
and dangerous escalations.
A lot of options on the table for President Trump. We appreciate you, Dave Sears, coming in, going through each one carefully. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Ed.